Well, we didn't have a student union when I got here, for all practical purposes. There was no building, and one of the things that was always promised was that we were going to have a student union building just for students.
The students were pitching in, at that time, back in 1962, they were pitching in $5 a quarter to give to a building to be built that they would be gone by the time it was completed.
The CSU was realized through the vision of students. Student fees began to come in so that the building could be constructed. The CSU opened in the fall of 1967 and has been expanded 3 times since it was first constructed.
The union was built in 3 different phases. Phase 1 was built in 1967.
The building was huge and it was new, and it was just fun to have meetings there, and the lights all worked, and they had all the whistles and the bells that were good at that time.
The building we're in today contained a university, or the union's information desk, a scheduling, food service, administrative office, the ballroom, conference rooms.
Students actually had some place to congregate. But now we were like the other campuses across the nation. They had their student unions, and now we had our student unions. So we were playing with the big boys.
First half of the 1970s, there was a lot of high energy events and activities taking place in the building.
In '72, Phase 2 was built, and that included adding a game room, which moved the bowling lanes from Crawford Basement over to the Union.
We used to have concerts in here, once or twice a month, as well as, coffee houses and small musical events. We had films happening 5 nights a week.
Well, the Lincoln Lounge, that statue is where students, way back in the old days, used to post notes to each other, and that's how they communicated. And if you think about how we communicate now, it's way different. It's cell phones and things, but it was still students going to the student union to communicate, to talk to each other.
The building was extremely active with a lot of student involvement. And that was a really fun time period in that respect.
It was called the living room of the university. I don't even know if it's still called that now, but that's what it was called there, because it was a place where you came together and you socialized and you talked, and in this group you may see women talk, you may see men. In this group you see mixture of, you may see, you had office space for student government, student newspaper, our ethnic student groups.
In 2005, I think it was, the renovation of Phase 1 to where it is today. But working with the architects, we would have these meetings with students. What do you want to see? What do you want to have? I know my comment was, I want them when they come around the corner by Auto Arena to go, wow, what's that?
And continues to be a place where different people of the members of the university comes together, and hopefully in a relaxed environment. And they feel like a place that they can be themselves.
That vision of the CSU again grew and improved in 2005. Portions of the CSU made the dramatic change from being dark and dreary to alive and bright. A major factor in this new look and feel was the addition of a 30-foot wall of glass at the building's main south entrance. Warm light spills into the building and provides a naturally daylighted ambiance to the attractive Hearth Lounge.
When I first walked in to the student union, or the CSU, I just was shocked at how big it was and how beautiful it was. It really was very beautiful.
There's always music playing, there's coffee, and if you're hungry, you get a food place as well.
This House of Serendipity, which to me is about it's a culture.
Serendipity is about making magic. It's about finding things you didn't expect to find, and being surprised and delighted by that.
It's not about brick and mortar. It's about turning this brick and mortar into a feeling, a sentiment that students get when they come into this space.
That was what I wanted my staff to do. That's what I wanted them to think their jobs were, to make magic for students every day in all kinds of different ways.
After 2010, the vision was further realized into a culture with the adoption of the CSU title, The House of Serendipity, with the tagline, Invite, Involve, inspire. Serendipity has been called one of the top 10 hardest English words to translate. The CSU agrees, because serendipity is something you have to experience.
And we tried to create serendipity in movies and theater and surprise events that students didn't expect to see, and artwork you wouldn't have expected to see, and bands popping up in the middle of the cafeteria, just all kinds of strange and lovely things that you didn't expect to find on a college campus. Our students were able to find them.
A building is the people, really, and how they use a building. It's really, you know, the programs and the services that go on.
We hold our meetings here all the time, just to hang out, just to chat, have lunch or dinner, depending on how late I am here at night.
I'm also involved with Student Men's Team. I've been part of it since my freshman year. It helped me grow as a person.
I think we have a very eclectic building. I like to say that. We've got some beautiful facilities between the ballroom, really one of the best ballrooms, I'd say, in the Midwest. When that ballroom was put in a few years ago, you know, they didn't spare any expenses. We can do pretty much anything.
It's the living room and dining room of campus. It's that life outside of the classroom, and I think students come here, students stay here.
This building was always there for me. Like whenever I had to hang out with my friends or whenever there was a student organization meeting group, it was always in this building. It wasn't in Armstrong, it wasn't in Morris, it was always here. Every leadership experience I've ever had was either here or in the residence hall.
You know, as we like to say, I think in the area, you know, besides one of your bigger land grant institutions, I think bang for your buck, if you took, you know, a pretty good look in the Midwest, we'd probably be one of the premier unions in the area.
So what is CSU for you?
Freedom.
It's home.
Unique.
Enthusiastic.
Community.
Inviting.
Excitement.
Awesome.
Serendipity.
Students.
Our vision continues.